Hi, my name is Marion, and I am posting a video today on my experience with e-commerce consulting and dynamic corporate setup. What I hope to get out of this video is that I am educating other people not to do any business with these companies. It's a scam. Hopefully educate and also hopefully get some more of my money back. And then third, maybe find other people who have had similar experience, the same experience. I'm sure they're out there who have also been scammed, and hopefully we can get in touch and start a class action lawsuit against this company, as has been done by the Consumer Protection Agency of Utah against the very same company, against a man named Jack Handren. Now, I will give you a little bit of background on myself. I am 59 years old. I live in Wichita, Kansas. I work as an avionics repair technician, and so what happened, how this all started was back in February, my company that I currently worked for announced that they were closing the plant or the repair station that I was working at. And that was going to leave 223 technicians out of a job. They were going to close, and then you could transfer up to Kansas City or find other employment. Well, long story short, I decided not to go because it wasn't going to be enough money to go up there and for the cost of living. And at that point, I started freaking out because I thought, who in their right mind is going to hire a 59-year-old woman? I basically was having to start all over again. And so what I did was I started searching for, what I was hoping to do was find ways to make money at home, because I was really sick of the corporate, I don't even know what to call it, the corporate rat race, so to speak. Corporate companies, large corporate companies don't treat their employees very well. I know the company that I worked for before and am currently working for now, they're taking more and more and more and more away from their employees, giving them less and less. I know the company I'm working for now, they're taking away the bonus this year. It's just ridiculous. So I really didn't want to work for another large company, so I was trying to find ways to make money at home. So what happened was I was online one day and I typed in, how to make money online at home. And this very sophisticated website popped up. I'm sure you've all seen it at one time or another, or that type of website where you see the artist hand animating a website as the narrator is talking. And anyway, it looked very sophisticated, polished. I thought, well, this can't be a scam. So I clicked on it, and it said for $399, they would show you how to build these not only one website, but several websites. And they would teach you all how to do this. And like I said, it looked very polished, sophisticated. It didn't look like a scam. And that's what their intents, it did its purpose. So, not very long after that, I think it was March 28th, I received a phone call from a gentleman who says that he's with this company, and they are called Dynamic or Ecommerce Consulting. And anyway, let me just read the story to you. Maybe I won't be, I'm nervous, so I'm coming across as probably here and there. Anyway, sometime between the dates of 3/24 through 3/29, I came across a website for website development. The website was sophisticated, seemed legitimate, and did not appear to be a scam. They claimed that for $399, they would help you learn and put websites on the internet that could help you generate income from home. I received a call on March 29th claiming that I could learn this and would be a perfect candidate for this, and he would use me to be a spokesperson for this website. Let me stop myself right there. What happened was the night before this gentleman called, I got a call from another gentleman saying, "Hey, tell me your story. Tell me what's going on. Why do you think you'd be a good candidate for this?" Very, very good at what he did. He pulled a lot of information from me in a very short time, and he found out my whole story, that the company that I was working for was going to close down that plant, and oh, he felt so sorry for me, and that was horrible. And he said, "Well, I tell you what, somebody else will get in contact with you tomorrow." Well, what he did is he feeds all this information to the salesman, and that salesman's name, and I'm going to say this several times, is Cameron Brewster. He is the owner of the company, and he's very good at what he does. He feeds all this, so that gives the salesman, Cameron, time to put a story together to imply to you that he is a friend of yours and he is doing you a great big favor, and that he's so sorry for what's happening. And of course, you know, most of us that might be looking for these type of websites are probably going through a similar situation. Either they've lost a job, or maybe they've had a high dollar bill come up from home, their car broke down or whatever. And so at that time, in that moment, you're pretty desperate. And this guy is very good at what he does. I think, and there's a lot of stigma to falling for a scam. You know, it all kind of falls on that person that fell for the scam and not the scammer. And I'm trying to, you hear, "How could you have done that? Oh my God, I can't believe you did that." They're very good at what they do. So he had rehearsed this. He sympathized with me. He empathized with me. All of this stuff, and he made me believe that he truly cared about what my future would hold, which is very far from the truth. Anyway, so let's see. Where was I? I received a call on March 29th claiming that I could learn this and would be the perfect candidate for this, and he could use me to be a spokesperson for his website. He and his company would develop a website for me, set me up with a business plan and the marketing, and I could be up and running and making $8,000 to $10,000 in as little as 4 months. Now, mind you, somewhere in this contract that you sign, at the very bottom, it says, "You are comfortable with your conversation with e-commerce web development and agree that you are voluntarily entering into this agreement. You agree that no claims of future earnings or credit have been presented to you by any representative of e-commerce web development, and that we do not represent you will earn or raise any specific amount of money." That's bullshit, because... Oh, and I'm sorry about the language. That's just me. He did imply, or he did say to me, "Oh yeah." So he asked you, "What do you want to earn?" And I told him I want to earn what I'm making now in a year, because that affords me to pay my house payment and pay my car payment and all the bills of daily living. And so anyway, let's go on. He and his company would develop a website, set me up with a business plan, and I could be up and making $8,000 to $10,000 in as little as 4 months. This gentleman was very smooth at what he did and extracted a lot of information in a short amount of time. All of it could be done for the sum of $9,500. Well, at that point, I was like, "I'm sorry, no, I can't do that." And he was like, "Well, yes, you can." I'm like, "Well, how do you know? Why do you say that?" And he said, "Well, you have credit cards, don't you?" And I do have credit cards, and I had most of them either paid off or very close to being paid off. And I had, at that point, a very good credit rating, and I still do. But let me tell you, it's been a struggle. So he proceeds to extract, what companies are my credit cards with? And, are they Visa, are they debit? And he gets all this information, and basically what they do is they go through, now that I think back about it, they go through and they check and see how much available credit that you do have, how much could you possibly get. And they go from there, and honestly, their whole point is to get as much money out of you before you realize that this is a scam and it's not working. And by that time, it's past the 30 days that you can pretty much get back, go back to your credit card company and say, I've been frauded. So, long story short, I agreed. He had also explained that they would have this set up as an education program, and they would set me up with an LLC, and I could take it as a tax deduction. He went on to explain that there would be an online learning hub that I would get access to with a coach who would go over each chapter with me and answer any questions that I might have. By the way, on the e-learning hub, it's a joke. These, they're 1-page, sometimes 2-page synopsis of, how to put an ad on eBay, how to put an ad on Facebook, how to put an ad on, there's stuff that you can actually go to eBay or Facebook or Amazon and get better instructions than you can through this. So, and then I would get access with the coach who would go over each chapter and answer any questions that I have. These sessions would last 15 minutes. He said 15 to half hour. They don't. They last exactly 15 minutes, and they're a joke. I'm sorry, Isabel, but you were a joke. I knew that you were on your phone the whole time that you were on with me, and you could have cared less whether I got an ad posted to eBay or any of those for that matter. So he then took my credit card number, and when the charge cleared, he then transferred me to someone else to sign the e-contract. This is key. So your conversation with the actual salesman, Cameron, is not recorded, but the signing contract that you sign is recorded, and it's done online. So you e-sign is basically what you do. And that's when I realized later on that, there was no recorded conversation, the salesman call. So it was just me signing the contract. Now, this is what's important. Not once in our conversation did he say to me that the $9,500 was just for the educational loan. He did not say to me at any time, oh, by the way, the fee for the setup for the business plan is $500, or that the marketing plan would be an additional $12,500. He led me to believe through misrepresentation that all of this was covered under the original fee of $9,500. They did not ever say in the contract signing that I had 3 business days to cancel the contract. It would not have mattered anyway due to the fact that they make sure the cancellation period is over before you get the next call explaining that they're ready to set up your business plan, and that will be an additional $5,000 in order to move on. I told them that I thought that was covered under the original $9,500. And they were like, oh, no, you must have misunderstood. Now, by the way, this company that you get the call from, the second call from, is called Dynamic Corporate Setup. Now, unfortunately, I was not able to do any research and find out who the owner is on that. I do know that it is an S. Snyder that signed the contract when I signed. So, let me see here. Anyway, I must have misunderstood. I figured that I was not going to be able to move on without the business plan. And that's kind of what they said. They're like, well, don't you want to take this as a tax credit? Well, then you need a business plan. So at this time, I'm starting to kind of freak out. I'm thinking my heart's starting to pound. I'm realizing that, oh crap, something doesn't sound right about this. So I signed the $5,000 because I wanted to move forward. I wanted to believe that no, this was just me being jaded and that these were good people. They were going to stand by me and they were going to get me through this. Well, that was a huge mistake. Several days past the cancellation, they called and told me they were ready to progress on the marketing plan and anyway, I was like, well, great, let's do it. And then that's when they laid the bomb on me that was going to be an additional $12,500. I completely lost it at that point, and the gentleman that I was speaking to said that I was very condescending and said I was getting way too emotional for the conversation, and he would call me back on Monday when I calmed down. I refused to answer the call and called the credit card company at that point. The credit card company did manage to get half my money back. And the conversation that I had with Julie from Intrust Bank was, if you feel that strongly about it, if you feel like you've been frauded, then fight. Well, and I have been doing it. This is February that this happened. So we're talking February to March, March to April, April to May, May to June, June to July, July to August, August, September, September, October, October. 9 months. I've been dealing with it. It's been stressful. It has consumed every minute of my waking moment. I have just been beside myself, and I have gotten most of my money back from Dynamic Corporate Setup, minus the $900, because they said they did do a business plan, and they did. But when I look at it, I think that's something that those forms are probably forms you could sign online. It's for setting up an LLC. And they wanted to charge me $5,000 for that. And at this point, I had done a lot of research and about e-commerce consulting and dynamic corporate setup. So let me give you some of the things that I found. First of all, let's go over what the city of Nevada or the state of Nevada says about fraud or deceptive trade. That's what they're practicing, deceptive trade. So this is in the NRS. I think that's the Nevada. Anyway, this is law in the state of this is from the Bureau of Consumer Protection. And this is what it says. When a consumer is buying a goods or service, the seller cannot deceive the consumer about the goods or services as defined under the Nevada Deceptive Trade Practice Act, Law NRS 598, as its related laws. A deceptive trade practice includes a seller making a false statement or misrepresentation about its goods or services, or failing to disclose material facts about its goods or services. Not all fraudulent activity is illegal under the Nevada Deceptive Trade Practices Act, such as when another law applies that regulates a particular industry or more specific. Anyway, so what Cameron Brewster, the owner of the company, did was very deceptive. He told me, and I'll say it, I'll take a lie detector test about this, is that for that $9,500, I was going to get the education, I was going to get the business plan, I was going to get an accounting plan, I was going to get the marketing plan, all for $9,500. And he said, isn't that a great deal? That's way cheaper than any, I'm trying to think of the word, franchise that you could buy into. And I was like, yeah, that does sound like a good deal. Boy, was I wrong. So in going forward on this, I have done, and here are some of the other complaints. I myself made that the thing that I read to you was my complaint to the Better Business Bureau of Las Vegas, Nevada, and also to the Federal Trade Commission. I have filed a complaint with the Attorney General of Nevada. And like I said, I found a lawsuit against another company, Ecommerce. Now, these are also limited liability corporations that the Consumer Protection Agency of Nevada filed against Jack Handren for these exact things that I am talking about now. Hold on a second. I'm going to find that. So here we go. This is before the Division of Consumer Protection of the Department of Commerce of the state of Utah in the matter of H&H Investing LLC, a Utah limited liability company doing business as Ecommerce Consulting. Kevin Handren, individually and as an officer, director, member, principal, manager, and or employee of the above named thing. And I believe there were several people that were involved in this, and he had to make restitution. Let's see, on December 13th, 2017, the division entered 2 orders in the DCP legal files 83064 and 86310. Those orders impose a total fine of $55,000 against respondents jointly and severally. The division agrees to accept $2,500 as a fine payment from respondents and suspends $52,500 pending respondents' compliance with this agreement. Additionally, the division agrees to accept $27,531 in restitution for consumers that he is supposed to pay. Let's see. After execution of this agreement, the division will attempt to distribute $50,000 in restitution to consumers who have filed complaints as of the date of this agreement with the division against transactions with H&H Investing LLC regarding conduct arising prior to March 3rd, 2015. So I could go on and on, but I'm not going to. What I believe is that these are privately owned, but they all operate under the same modus operandi, which is to get as much money out of you, fraud you for as much money as they possibly can before you realize. Because what they're counting on and hoping for is that you won't come forward, you won't say anything, you won't do anything, that you'll just bend over and take it. And I'm not going to take it. Now, I've been trying to have conversations, and the worst part with these people, and the worst part about it all is they realize that they probably are messing with the wrong bitch, and that, hold on a second, let me find it. Now, mind you, I'm not just dealing with one company, Ecommerce Consulting. I'm also dealing with Dynamic Corporate Setup, and I believe them to be just as guilty and fraudulent as Ecommerce Consulting is. Anyway, I have been talking with a gentleman named Billy, and I'll use that term loosely, over at Dynamic Corporate, and said, look, either give me my money back or I'm filing with the Consumer Protection Agency and I'm going to make a video. And he was like, well, yeah, you can go ahead and do that. And then I explained that there was a lawsuit in... Now, he acts all innocent like he doesn't know any of this, but I don't believe that to be true. I believe he knows who he is in bed with, and that he knows that these people are doing what they do because they're the cash cow for this company. So, anyway, so when I tell him about this lawsuit that I found online against Ecommerce Consulting in Utah, he slowed his roll, and he was like, well, yeah, we can talk about giving you a refund. And he was a gentleman about it for the most part. He said he would give me everything. At that time, they owed me $5,000. And my credit card company got $2,500, and then they still owed me an additional $2,500, which he has generously given me all but $900 back, $1,600. And he said that he would talk with Dynamic Corporate Setup, and I believe he did. And I got an email from now, mind you, I had been trying to have a conversation with Dynamic Corporate Setup, and I had told them the same thing in a voicemail and an email that, you know what, if you don't give me my money back, I'm going to expose you for what you are, which is a fraud. You guys are frauds. You're frauds, you're scammers. The unfortunate thing, I think, is that the Attorney General and the Consumer Protection is letting them get away with it. So, I'm hoping to raise enough stink with enough people who have gone through this. So if you have a grandmother, a mother, a sister, a brother, a husband, a nephew, a niece, and you've heard e-commerce consulting or dynamic corporate setup, and they've, number one, if they've just started, tell them to call the credit card company immediately and get their money back. Number two, if they've just kind of rolled over and took it up the butt, tell them that I would like to speak with them. I'm not looking for money from anybody. What I would like to do is get a like-minded group of people together so that we can go to the Attorney General of Nevada and get our money back and hopefully put this gentleman out of business, because this is bullshit that he can get away with this. And I believe if we band together and stay strong, we can get our money back. Now, this gentleman that I'm talking about, now I don't know about Billy up in Tequila, Washington. That's around the Seattle area. Cameron Brewster, the owner of Ecommerce Consulting, lives in Vegas, and he lives in almost $250,000 home. Now, how did he get that money? He got it by not being honest and making, hard working like we are, like I am. I'm a blue collar worker. I work 50 to 55 hours a week so I can pay my medical insurance, so I can put money into my retirement income. And I think it's effed up that companies like this can get away with this crap. So I'm hoping that out of all of this, that we can get some help either from our credit card companies, because I didn't get all the help that I wanted. I told them this is fraud, pure and simple, what they did, and they don't think it is. They don't consider it fraud. So anyway, let me tell you what happened in the end. What happened? So Billy calls up e-commerce. Billy from Dynamic Corporate Setup calls up e-commerce and says, who knows what he said. It probably wasn't very, he was probably like, this crazy lady is threatening us, and, I don't want to, I really don't think that he wanted this to happen. And, I promised him, but I really can't not say something about e-commerce without bringing Dynamic Core into it, explaining that they are collaborating together. And, here's how I think the conversation went after Cameron hung up with me on the phone and had that $9,500 sale. Was, oh my God, Billy, we'll call him Billy, we've got a live one on, get as much money as you possibly can out of her. And that's how I think it went down. So anyway, so I get this email, and this email was dated September 27th at 8:20 p.m. You have been issued a refund in full. You will be receiving a check via mail within 5 to 7 days. They did not charge it back to my credit card. They said I was going to get a check. Well, at that point, I thought, oh man, I won. I won. Yay, I won. All this hard work, all this stress, all these sleepless nights. I won. I didn't win. So a week goes by, almost 2 weeks, and I call Billy up and I said, Billy, what's going on? Why haven't I got my check yet? And they're like, oh, I know they sent it. And he said, but I'll give him a call. So then I get a call from Billy. And Billy says, I just spoke to the manager for you. The check itself was sent out on the 4th. So it should be any day now before you receive it. Any other questions, please let me know. Thank you, Billy. So then on October 8th, do you know what the holdup could be on the refund? They informed me on September 27th they would be mailing a check to me, informed me that it would be anywhere from 5 to 7 days. It's day 7 and nothing. Could you please check in for me? Anyway, they don't have any intention of sending this check. So here I am. I'm making this video. I thought we could do it the easy way, and we can't. And number two, like I said, I hope to inform, educate, stop other people from making the same mistake, and hopefully The other thing is, I would like, if you know anybody who has been scammed by this company, to watch this video and get a hold of me. I will have a link in the page somewhere where you can get a hold of me, and hopefully we can get enough people together to get our money back and put this SOB out of business, because this is ridiculous. This should not be going on. We worked way too hard for our money to be scammed. And I know I'm going to get a ton of haters about this, and called all sorts of names and be told that I'm stupid and that how, they're very good at what they do. So anyway, if you have any questions at all, please get a hold of me. All I can say is, don't do any business e-commerce. I don't care what state it's in. Don't do it. E-commerce consulting and dynamic corporate setup. I can't say it enough. E-commerce consulting. The one I dealt with was in Las Vegas, Nevada, but obviously there's one in Utah. There's probably one in every state, because it probably is a cash cow if they're all doing business the way that Cameron Brewster, who owns the e-commerce in Las Vegas, Nevada, is doing. And also dynamic corporate setup. I know they have offices across the United States also. So don't do business with them. Just don't. Save yourself a bunch of heartache and stress, and just say no, don't do it. And I honestly believe, you see those Facebook ads all the time about if you're dissatisfied with your life, and let me, and they have this person that, let me show you how I did it, and it's simple, and you don't need any experience, and blah blah blah. I think they're all phonies. Some of them may not be, but the way I look at it is, if Cameron came to me and said, well, here, let me actually set this up for you, get it going, and then pay him, which I know is not going to happen, so that I could believe him. But no, all they're out for is to get as much money on your credit card as they possibly can before you realize that this is a scam. Oh, and I was going to tell you, I was going to read other reviews on the Better Business Bureau. So here's one for Dynamic Corporate Setup. I was contacted by Dynamic Corporate Setup after I had started working with an online training program to develop a website. That would be e-commerce consulting. Or maybe they're not the only one in collaboration with. Like I said, there's probably others out there that are doing business the same way. They said they were associated with online training and would help me grow my website and make a profit within 6 months. I wanted to think about this, but was pushed to make a decision at that moment. The person then became belligerent. Unfortunately, I allowed myself to believe in them and agreed to the proposal. That's just it. That's the thing, is they're counting on that you are in such a desperate situation that you just want to believe. You want to believe that there are good people out there to help you. And believe me, e-commerce or dynamic corporate is not it. So I was then transferred to another person who looked up all my credit cards, same thing happened to me, and figured out how much money could be put on them, and even had me apply for new credit cards. Again, unfortunately, I was talked into borrowing money from my retirement. This woman had just lost my job, and they knew that. She told them that. I did have a coach, and she puts that in parentheses, who did not help me understand 99% of the social media. After the sessions ended, I tried to navigate myself, but as of today, I have only made $200. Site went live last year, 11/18. I have tried calling to talk about the issues I am having. I made an appointment. There is no call at the scheduled time. I'm out thousands of dollars. I have had to request help from a debt relief company to pay off credit cards. I cannot pay my taxes, state or federal. I was taxed on the money I took from the 401k. I realized, oh, this is my fault. No, it's not her fault. These people they're very good at what they do, I'm telling you. Okay, and then this other one, I was having a web set up and dynamic corporate set was to do my LLC and other tax things on 6/18/17. I paid them $3,000 for this service. So this is where when they get they see how much credit you have available, how much you can get off your cards and charge you accordingly. So some people, they're going to charge less. People who have $60,000, $70,000 worth can get $60,000 or $70,000 worth of off of a credit card. They're going to charge you more. For this service, the last time I talked to them, I have tried many times to call and email. They won't answer their phone or reply to my email. I don't know where they are, but every time I call, I get a voicemail of a different phone number. I need help in locating them because I don't think they have any intention of helping me from the start, or they would have responded in some way if they were legit. True that. Let's see. Can you help me find them because they are fraud and maybe doing this to others? Yeah, they are doing it to others. E-commerce consulting. Here's the complaint. I was introduced to an email about how to make money on the internet by connecting my account to this company business. Then supposedly I was supposed to have funds in my account. I did not know that our initial investment was going to be. Now, when I'm reading this, I think, for some of these people, I think English is not their first language. So if it sounds kind of screwy, it's, and I get that. I'm trying to make it as clear as I can. Did not know that our initial investment was going to be $5,100 as the so-called owner proceeded to tell my husband and I. All that I had to do was make the initial investments, and within 6 months we would have made our initial investment back. Same crap he told me. This could not be any further from the truth. We have not made 1 cent off what we were promised. Instead, we were bombarded with questions asking about our accounts and how much we made. Initially, we gave them vague information. They were calling actually to get us to invest more money to make money. When we refused, the man got angry. We told him we were going to not give him another dime, especially because we did not make anything like they promised. They then called back asking the same financial questions, and because I told them they were not going to get any more monies out of us, one man told me he could wait for my husband. Next, the head guy called back 3 days later, and when I told him we were not going to give them any more money or personal information about our finances, they hung up the phone on me. And that was that. We were lied to, and we won our monies back. They say they reversed the funds. I don't know how much, but anyway. Yeah, it's been crazy. But yeah, these people they're ruthless, they're unscrupulous, they're unethical. They are horrible, horrible people. Like I said, you can go to the Better Business Bureau and see what complaints. Now, I filed a written complaint, and because I filed a written complaint, the Better Business Bureau would not let me just put one on their complaint board, so to speak. They said you have to go through the process, and I was like, whatever. Again, e-commerce consulting. Cameron Brewster is the owner. Dynamic corporate setup. S. Snyder. Bill. It says Tequila, but then all Renton, Washington. Don't do business. Save yourself a lot of heartache and stress. And if you have been frauded, deceived using the deceptive trade practices that Cameron uses, then please get a hold of me and let's get together and try. I don't want any money. I'm not wanting money. I just want to get justice, revenge, basically. And I want to put these people out of business because this has been a horrible, horrible experience that I've been through. And it's just really beaten me down. And I hope that together we can create a powerful force and put these people out of business, because that's what they deserve. Now, I did a background check on Cameron Brewster, and I'm not going to go into all the details, but it wasn't pretty. And I just think, and I'm not an angel. I've had my issues with the law too. But the difference is that I learned from mine. I've become a better person, a decent person. Cameron has not. Cameron, I guess that's the only way he knows how to make money, is to fraud people. So, anyway, I hope this helps somebody. I hope this helps somebody not to make that decision to do business with e-commerce or dynamic consulting, dynamic corporate setup. If you have a mother, a grandmother, a sister, a brother, a husband, a niece, a nephew, an uncle, an aunt, whoever, and you've heard this brought up in conversation, number one, don't beat them down. They're already beating themselves up. And number two, let them know that there's somebody out there that's been through the same thing and wants to help and wants to help. I don't care what state you're in, because like I said, I believe this is the motive, this is how they operate, by this deceptive trade practices. So anyway, God bless. I hope this helped somebody, and I hope to hear from you. Bye from Wichita, Kansas.